Good morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for another installment of this silver Camaro here. We're pretty much ready to start. I need to build a little tune, and we got a couple little itty-bitty things we need to do. But in this video, we should be starting it. And I'll go over where we're at and what needs to be done right now. Let me switch you around here. Right, so let's see where to start. We've got most of our plumbing done. It's our lines going to the catch can. They're both coming off of here, off the valve covers. Going into this catch can here. Let me back up here. Let's kind of close. There we go. This is our expansion tank, and it's overflow too. So it's expansion tank side and overflow. We got it plumbed right into this aluminum line here. Goes to the front of the radiator. It's that line right there. We've got the air to water intercooler plumbed. It had them ugly brass fittings, and we opted for the AN fittings. Much nicer looking anyways. The other stuff would have worked, but this stuff just looks nicer. It blends in nicer. Got all the lines running up to here. Got a P-clamp there. A little bracket to help keep everything down. Going right through the firewall there. Some bulkhead fittings. What else? Pat wrap both the headers. We got all the spark plug cables all finished up. Got two coming down the front and two coming down the back side. Intake is on. What else is there? Oh, we've been working on the differential too. This differential has got the back brace, so we could not use the anti-roll bar, the TRZ anti-roll bar. It has these little brackets here that the links hook up to. It's on both sides, but that's right about here, and it's about the same length. So we're going to do a different setup there, which we have to order some parts, and I can't remember. I think Trick Performance is the one he's going to order the kit. And we got the strange brakes on it. These puppies are light. I think it's lighter than a full can of soda. These little brackets here are the original brackets that kind of come up like right in this area, and that bracket also was part of the e-brake cable holder, but we just lopped it off, welded it on there, made some brake lines. This bracket here is the factory bracket, so made a little tab, welded it on there. So that puppy's just about ready to go in. Probably could put it in actually, but he's also going to get some lower control arms. This heim joint here is pretty much seized in here. Can't even adjust it. So he's going to get some lower control arms where you can just turn the tube and adjust the heim joints, because it don't have a heim joint back there. It's just a polyurethane bushing. So I'm going to get that. You'll probably get that from Trick also. The rebuilt shocks are in. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at now. We need to fill it up. We need to fill the radiator. And oh yeah, we're going to build a primer so we can prime the engine. It's been sitting for a couple years, so I'm going to make sure get lots of oil to everywhere. So there's a little fitting up underneath the block here. You take that out and put another fitting in there. We're going to make like a homemade pressure vessel, basically like the fertilizer containers. So we're going to use that and just use that to pump oil throughout the whole engine, so we can get that thing primed so it doesn't start under dry conditions. That would be bad, especially for an engine like this. Don't want to hurt that thing at all. See how they ran the lines in here. They're not completely held down yet, but we still need to clamp this. But that'll run underneath the console, the center console, and then the other line runs down here. They both connect into there. Yeah, I think we got everything all talked about in here. So that's where we're at right now. I need to put a fitting in here so it can bleed the air out of the radiator while we're putting antifreeze in it. That's what I'm gonna do next. Okay, we got our little air bleed fitting all installed. You just gotta loosen up that little top piece right there, and it's got a little air bleeder valve in there to get all the air out of that side of the tank. Since it's cross flow, or it's a dual pass, so it's pretty easy to get air on that side, laying flat like it is. So that will get all the air out of there, and it's all filled up. We finally painted this bar here, and this bar, all these bars that hold that transmission cooler on there. Got all of our lines tied down finally. Those are just like, that's the headlights and stuff there, blinkers, and then that's the catch can line there. And got the wastegates all plumbed in. It's the dome pressure. It runs from the valves up there on the firewall down the side, and we've got it teed behind here. That way both wastegates get the same reference, or the same dome pressure. And then our reference line comes right off the charge pipe right here, which I made some bungs so we could have a nice tight fit there. We don't want those lines coming off at all. This one over here, the previous owner had it just coming off of here, and it was teed off going to both sides, but it was just off this tube, which is only 16 gauge thick, so 0.65, and there's probably maybe 2 threads holding it on there, and it was loose. So if that guy would have popped out going to the bottom side of the wastegate under full throttle, it would have gave it all the boost and bent every rod if it didn't break this nice expensive engine. So we can't be doing that. So the bungs were made, welded in, those are done. What else did we get done? Painted. Okay, we did the I showed earlier where the torque arm was self-clearancing down there on the factory cover. So we bought this one from Rock Solid Motorsports and installed it. Now we've got lots of room back there, lots of room. I still need to play with this thing. I want to put the blinkers on it and the fuel gauge, which we'll play with that later, but we unplugged all the, when we did the welding of that bar, or not the bar, the cover. ECMs don't like welder frequencies on metal. Gotta make sure and unhook all that stuff. I'm gonna raise this thing up so I can show what we've done on the bottom side. Okay, I'm gonna go back up here to the front. So we've got the, I got my little light here. Got the wastegate tubes, the wastegate dumps built up. So they just go straight down to the ground on both sides. Got a little bit of an angle to keep them towards the inside, keep them away from the tire and all the expensive bits. Let's see, we did have a slight leak on this line here. No big deal, just made a new one. That's the turbo drain. That was one of the few leaks that we had. Got the fuel lines all tied up and out of the way. Here's the bottom side. the big opening for the torque arm. Got the differential in there. Like I said before, we couldn't use that the anti-roll bar from. Let me see if I can get this thing stuck. We couldn't use the anti-roll bar from TRZ, so the one that we've got on order goes under here. It's kind of like an underslung. It's got brackets that you weld onto the tube, so it should be pretty easy installation. And then the end links, there's brackets that go onto the frame here. Which this frame, I'm not sure where in here it's going to go, but we might have to do a little modifying on the brake lines. He's got torque boxes on the way for this, which have, I think they have either 4 or 5 holes, so you can adjust your instant center of your bar. Plus we've got 4 different holes here, so we'll be able to adjust this bar any way we need to get this thing to plant. We still need to hook up these 2 brake lines here, but I'm gonna wait until we figure out where the brackets are gonna go for the anti-roll bar. And I'll show you get this light. Sorry. We changed the position of the, wow, shine the light on everybody. We changed the position of the draft shaft loop. It was farther back because that's just how it's set up with this cross member for the torque arm. So we changed it and moved it up because you need to be 6 inches from the U-joint. So now we're within the 6 inches. It's much safer that way too. The farther forward you can get, the better. So that's one more thing knocked out. We did a bunch of welding the other day. Got a lot of stuff done. This is the thing that we made the other day. Pat and Josh made it. This is what we used to prime the engine. We made it fitting. And I didn't make it, but they went in right there. And just fill this up with oil, pressurize it, and this is the part that they had hooked up into the engine. And you just keep pressurizing it till it starts to come out the rocker arms on top of the engine. And it worked beautifully. It takes a little time, but yeah, you can only go like 30 psi on this thing, but it worked really well. And we did get it started. It sounds amazing. I'll put the video in right now. But yeah, as you can tell, it sounds freaking amazing. And we got this thing started. I couldn't believe how easily it started. The gas tank back here has got a bunch of varnished fuel in it, so it's pretty much useless until I get it cleaned out, or just make a tank. Because once we go V8, then that tank's not going to be worthy. But yeah, just threw some gas in the carbs up there. And I used a little fuel tank that I had, a little 2.5 gallon, and I'll throw that video in here. This old turd runs. All I'll do is put some gas in the carb, start it right up. Off the gas can. Well, that's gonna wrap up this video. On our next video, we're gonna be welding in those torque boxes and the anti-roll bar on that differential. And at that point, we're gonna be pretty close to throwing it on that dyno, do some steady state tuning for drivability. And after that, he's going to take it to another shop because my dyno won't do that kind of horsepower. So, but until next time, I appreciate you guys watching. I really do. And we will see you on the next episode. Thanks. Bye-bye.